Welcome to the Rare Coins Collections, where history meets value. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and sought-after pennies in the United States, a coin that has a fascinating story and a surprising worth. Get ready to learn everything you need to know about the 1945 Lincoln penny, a piece of American history that could be sitting right in your pocket. The 1945 Lincoln penny was minted during a significant time in history, right at the end of World War II. The United States was recovering, and the demand for copper for wartime efforts led to a unique twist in the way these pennies were produced. This is a story of rarity, mistakes, and valuable discoveries. So, why is the 1945 Lincoln penny so special? Let's start with the basics. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, has always been iconic, with President Abraham Lincoln's face gracing its front. But what makes the 1945 version stand out is the coin's unique errors and variations that have caught the eyes of collectors for decades. One of the key features to watch for is the possibility of a rare, double die error. This occurs when the design on the coin is struck more than once during the minting process, leading to a blurry or doubled image. In the case of the 1945 Lincoln penny, these errors are particularly valuable. The double die can be most noticeable in the date or the lettering of the coin. If you closely examine the year, 1945, you might see a distinct doubling effect that sets it apart from standard pennies. Another notable error to look out for on the 1945 penny is the off-center strike. If the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during minting, it could result in an off-center image, making the coin even rarer and more valuable. These kinds of errors make the 1945 Lincoln penny a must-have for serious collectors, and spotting one can be like finding a treasure hidden in plain sight. But it's not just about the mistakes that make this penny valuable. The sheer rarity of certain versions of the 1945 penny, combined with historical significance, has driven up its value. After all, only a small number of these coins exist with the right kind of errors or unique characteristics. As time passes, the number of these coins in good condition decreases, which only increases their worth among collectors. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these valuable 1945 Lincoln pennies. First, always inspect the coin for any signs of doubling, especially around the date or letters on the coin. The doubling effect is subtle but distinctive when you know what to look for. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to get a closer look at the coin. Next, check for any off-center strikes. Hold the coin at an angle in the light and see if you can spot any misalignments in the design. Keep in mind that these errors are rare, so if you find one, it could be a major discovery. Now, let's get to the fun part, the value. The 1945 Lincoln penny can range in price dramatically based on its condition and whether it has any errors. If you find a 1945 penny with a well-known error like the double die or off-center strike, its value could range anywhere from $3,600 to $45,000, depending on the rarity and condition. Imagine, a penny that you might think is just a regular coin could actually be worth more than most people's entire coin collection. This makes it a treasure hunt for collectors everywhere. Keep in mind that coin values can change over time, but a 1945 Lincoln penny with the right error or condition is always in demand. Before we wrap up, let's take a quick moment to ask you, have you ever come across a rare coin like this, or maybe even a 1945 Lincoln penny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What's the most valuable coin you've ever found? Maybe we can all learn from each other's discoveries. So, the next time you're going through your spare change or digging into a jar of old pennies, remember to keep an eye out for that 1945 Lincoln penny. With a little bit of luck and a keen eye, you might just find yourself holding onto a coin that's worth thousands. Today we're going to uncover the mystery behind a seemingly ordinary penny, the 1949 Lincoln penny. You might have one of these sitting in your pocket right now, and it could be worth far more than you think. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of American currency since 1909, and it continues to be one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. But what makes the 1949 version stand out from the rest? Let's dive into its key features, what to look for, and why this coin is so valuable to collectors and numismatists alike. First, let's talk about the key features of the 1949 Lincoln penny. This penny is similar to other pennies of the era, with President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. However, there's something special about certain 1949 pennies that can make them incredibly valuable. One of the most important factors that collectors look for in the 1949 Lincoln penny is the potential for rare errors. These errors can drastically increase the value of a coin. The two most common types of errors to look for on the 1949 penny are the double die and off-center strikes. The double die error is a result of the coin being struck twice, which causes the design to be duplicated in a blurry or doubled pattern. The most noticeable place to spot the double die error is on the date itself. If you look closely at the 1949 on the penny, you may see that the numbers appear slightly shifted or doubled. This error is quite rare, but if you manage to find one, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Another error to look for on the 1949 penny is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not aligned properly during the minting process, causing the design to be misaligned. If you inspect the coin and notice that the design is off-center, whether it's the date, Lincoln's portrait, or the wheat stalks on the reverse, this could indicate a valuable error. Off-center pennies are rarer, and collectors are always on the lookout for them, but what makes the 1949 Lincoln penny truly valuable is the combination of its historical significance and its rarity. While most 1949 pennies were produced in large quantities, certain variations or errors make specific coins stand out. These pennies were minted just after World War II, during a time when the U.S. economy was recovering and copper was in high demand for industrial purposes. This makes the 1949 penny not just a piece of currency, but a reflection of a pivotal moment in American history. The value of a 1949 Lincoln penny can vary depending on its condition and any errors it might have. In general, if you have a 1949 penny in good condition, it may be worth more than its face value. However, if you happen to come across a 1949 penny with a double die or off-center strike, the value can jump to incredible amounts. So, how do you spot a rare 1949 Lincoln penny? First, you'll want to closely inspect the date. Look at the 1949 on the penny, and if you notice any doubling or distortion in the numbers, you could have a double die error on your hands. Using a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe can really help you examine the fine details. Next, check the alignment of the design. Hold the penny at an angle and look for any misalignment of the images. If you find the design shifted or off-center, that could mean you have a valuable error coin on your hands. The best way to identify these rare coins is by taking your time and paying close attention to the finer details. These errors are subtle, but once you learn what to look for, you'll be much better prepared to spot them when they appear. Now, let's talk about the value of a 1949 Lincoln penny. In terms of price, the value of these coins can range widely depending on their condition and any errors they might have. A standard 1949 penny in good condition might only be worth a few dollars above its face value, but if you find a 1949 penny with a double die or off-center strike, it could be worth as much as $3,600 to $43,000. Imagine finding one of these coins in your spare change and realizing it could be worth that much. That's the exciting part of coin collecting, the thrill of discovering something incredibly valuable in the most unexpected places. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to ask you, have you ever found a rare coin like the 1949 Lincoln penny? Or maybe you've come across one with an error? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your own coin hunting adventures and any hidden treasures you've discovered. So, the next time you go through your collection or check your spare change, don't forget to take a close look at those 1949 Lincoln pennies. With a keen eye and a little bit of luck, you could just stumble upon a coin worth thousands of dollars. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows what treasures you might find. Today, we're about to dive into one of the most fascinating pennies in U.S. history, the 1954 Lincoln penny. You might think it's just another coin from the past, but trust me, this penny has much more to offer than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone casually interested in coins, this video is packed with valuable information that could change the way you view this iconic piece of currency. So, let's start by talking about the 1954 Lincoln Penny's key features. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln penny has seen numerous variations over the years, but the 1954 penny is unique for a few reasons. For starters, the coin features President Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the classic wheat stalks on the reverse. However, it's the small details and rare errors on certain 1954 pennies that make it highly sought after by collectors today. Now, let's take a closer look at the errors that could make a 1954 penny valuable. Errors are one of the key things collectors look for when determining a coin's worth, and the 1954 Lincoln penny is no exception. One of the most important errors to watch out for on this penny is the double die error. Double die errors happen when the design of the coin is struck more than once, leading to a doubling effect on the image. For the 1954 penny, you'll typically see this error around the date, 1954, or on the lettering. The doubled numbers or letters might appear blurry or out of alignment, so if you see that, you may have just discovered a rare error that could boost the value of your coin. Another error that can make a 1954 Lincoln penny valuable is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny is not perfectly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a misaligned design. The best way to identify an off-center strike is to look at the edge of the coin. If you see the design cut off or shifted toward one side, that could mean you have an off-center error on your hands. These types of errors are more uncommon, and coins with them are highly prized in the collector's market, but it's not just the errors that make the 1954 Lincoln penny valuable. The overall rarity of certain versions of the penny also contributes to its worth. In 1954, over 1 billion pennies were minted, but not all of them are in good condition. Coins that are well preserved, free of scratches, and show minimal wear tend to command higher prices. As time passes, the number of well-maintained 1954 pennies continues to dwindle, making those in excellent condition more valuable. Now, let's talk about why these pennies are so valuable in the first place. The value of the 1954 Lincoln penny goes beyond just its rarity. This penny represents a moment in U.S. history, post-World War II, when the country was booming and undergoing significant changes. It's a coin that tells a story of American resilience and progress, and for collectors, that historical significance is part of what makes the 1954 penny so appealing. It's not just about the metal or the minting process, it's about owning a piece of history. So, how do you spot a valuable 1954 Lincoln penny? First, take a close look at the date. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect the numbers carefully. If you notice any doubling or distortion in the year 1954, you might be dealing with a double die error. This is one of the most common and most valuable errors you'll find on this penny. Next, check the alignment of the coin. Hold it at different angles in the light and look at the edges for any signs of misalignment. If the design appears off-center or if one side of the coin is missing part of the design, that could indicate an off-center strike error. Another tip for spotting valuable 1954 pennies is to assess their overall condition. Look for coins that are in mint state or at least in excellent condition. The more wear and tear on a coin, the less valuable it is. A well-preserved 1954 penny with sharp details and no visible damage will always be worth more than one that's been heavily circulated. Now, let's talk about the fun part, the value of the 1954 Lincoln penny. As with any rare coin, its value depends on factors like the coin's condition and any errors it may have. For a regular 1954 penny, you might only get a few cents more than face value. But, when it comes to a 1954 penny with a double die error or an off-center strike, the value can rise dramatically. A 1954 penny with these kinds of rare errors can fetch anywhere between $33,000 to $42,000. It's incredible to think that a small penny, which many people wouldn't think twice about, could be worth so much. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the excitement of finding something rare and valuable in the most unexpected places. Before we end, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a rare coin, like a 1954 Lincoln penny with an error? Or maybe you found a different valuable penny from another year? Drop your thoughts and discoveries in the comments below. We always enjoy hearing about your coin hunting adventures. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies in U.S. history, the 1953 Lincoln penny. If you've ever wondered whether that handful of spare change could hold a hidden treasure, you might just be in for a big surprise. The 1953 Lincoln penny is a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but when you know what to look for, it could be worth thousands of dollars. So, let's start by talking about the key features of the 1953 Lincoln penny. The design, as you know, features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the wheat stalks on the reverse. This penny, like many others from this era, was minted in large quantities, but that doesn't mean all of them are created equal. Some 1953 pennies are much rarer and more valuable than others, and that's what we'll explore today. Now, what exactly makes the 1953 Lincoln penny valuable? Well, one of the key factors collectors look for when determining a coin's worth is the possibility of errors or unique characteristics. With the 1953 penny, there are a couple of significant errors that can make a huge difference in its value. The first, and perhaps most sought after, is the double die error. Double die errors occur when the coin is struck more than once during the minting process. This results in a doubling of the design, making certain parts of the coin appear blurry or out of alignment. For the 1953 Lincoln penny, the most common area where this doubling can be seen is on the date, 1953, or the lettering around the coin. If you closely inspect the year, you may notice that the numbers are not perfectly aligned, they may appear slightly doubled or distorted. This error is rare but highly valued, so if you spot this on your 1953 penny, you might have something that could fetch a great price. Another error to look for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, which causes part of the design to be off-center. With an off-center strike, you'll typically notice that part of the coin's image, like the date or even part of Lincoln's portrait, is missing or misaligned. The more extreme the off-center error, the more valuable the coin becomes, but the value of the 1953 Lincoln penny isn't only determined by these errors, it's also about rarity and condition. While the 1953 penny was minted in high numbers, many of them were heavily circulated and worn down over time. Coins that are in excellent condition, especially those with minimal wear, can command a higher price. In the case of the 1953 Lincoln penny, well-preserved examples are rare and highly sought after, making them even more valuable to collectors. So, why is this penny worth so much? The 1953 Lincoln penny carries historical significance, just like any other coin from the 1950s. The 1950s marked an important time in U.S. history, and the coins minted during this period represent a time of growth and change in America. People are drawn to these coins not only because of their errors and rarity but also because they provide a tangible connection to the past. Now, let's talk about how you can spot a valuable 1953 Lincoln penny. First, always examine the date. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look closely at the numbers in the year 1953. If you notice any signs of doubling, especially on the digits or around the lettering, you might have found a double die error. This is the first sign that your coin could be worth much more than face value. Next, inspect the coin's alignment. Hold the penny up to the light and carefully examine the edges. Look for any signs that the coin's design is off-center. If part of the image is missing or shifted to one side, you could have an off-center strike error. Coins with these types of errors are quite rare, and they always attract the attention of serious collectors. Finally, don't forget to check the condition of your coin. A 1953 penny in mint condition, with no visible wear or damage, is much more valuable than one that has been heavily circulated. If you have a 1953 penny that is well preserved, it could significantly increase its worth. Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much is the 1953 Lincoln penny worth? The value of this coin can vary based on its condition and any errors it might have. For a typical 1953 penny, you might only get a few cents above its face value. However, if you find a 1953 penny with a double die or an off-center strike error, the value can skyrocket. These error coins can be worth anywhere between $34,000 to $43,000, that's right, an ordinary penny that you might find in your pocket or in a jar of loose change could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting, the potential to find something truly rare and valuable in the most unexpected places. Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1953 Lincoln penny with a rare error? Or maybe you've stumbled upon another valuable coin in your collection? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know about your own coin hunting experiences. Today, we've got an exciting deep dive into one of the most legendary and sought-after pennies in U.S. history, the 1944 Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? But trust me, when you hear about the incredible value and potential errors on this coin, you'll be seeing pennies in a whole new light. The 1944 Lincoln penny is often regarded as a true treasure among coin collectors. It's more than just a penny from the 1940s, this coin has some fascinating details and features that make it one of the most collectible coins ever minted in the United States. So let's get into why this coin is so special and what you should be looking for if you think you might have a valuable 1944 Lincoln penny. To understand why the 1944 penny is so sought after, we need to take a look at its key features. First and foremost, the 1944 penny was minted during a time when World War II was still ongoing. The U.S. government needed copper for war efforts, so in 1943, the mint switched from the usual copper to steel for pennies. But by 1944, they returned to the original copper composition for the penny, making this coin one of the last to be made with this specific metal. This simple fact already adds a layer of history and significance to the 1944 penny. On the front, you'll find the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been part of the Lincoln penny since 1909. The reverse side features the wheat stalks, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. But even though this coin seems simple, there's a lot more than meets the eye. The 1944 Lincoln penny has a few key features and errors that are particularly important for collectors to spot. And trust me, knowing what to look for could make the difference between finding a penny worth a few cents and one worth thousands. Let's talk about the errors that collectors go crazy for. The most notable error to keep an eye out for is the double die error. Double die errors happen when the coin is struck more than once, leading to a doubling effect on the design. For the 1944 penny, this doubling can typically be seen on the date or the lettering on the coin. If you closely inspect the year, 1944, and see that the numbers are doubled or misaligned, you may be holding onto a very valuable error. These types of coins can fetch a high price because they are much rarer than regular 1944 pennies. Another error that can make your 1944 penny valuable is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. When this occurs, you'll see part of the coin's design missing, or the image might be shifted to one side. Off-center strikes are a bit rarer, and coins with more extreme off-center errors are especially valuable. So, if you spot a 1944 penny with a significant misalignment, it could be worth much more than you think. Now, let's talk about how to spot these rare errors in the first place. The first thing you should do when inspecting a 1944 Lincoln penny is to take a close look at the date. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will be extremely helpful here. Focus on the 1944 and see if you can spot any doubling of the numbers. It's a subtle detail, but if you notice any blurry or doubled digits, congratulations, you might have a double die error on your hands. Next, check the alignment of the coin. Hold it at different angles in the light and look for any signs that the design is off-center. This is an error that's often easiest to spot around the edge of the coin, where part of the design might be cut off. The more misaligned the design, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another way to spot a rare 1944 penny is by checking its condition. Coins that have been heavily circulated, with visible wear and tear, are going to be worth less than those in mint or near mint condition. If you have a 1944 penny that's in great shape, meaning it has sharp details, no scratches, and little to no visible wear, it will naturally command a higher price. The better the condition, the higher the potential value. So, you're probably wondering, how much is a 1944 Lincoln penny actually worth? Well, it depends on the condition of the coin and whether or not it has any errors. A regular 1944 penny in decent condition might be worth just a few dollars above its face value. However, a 1944 penny with a double die or off-center strike error can be worth a lot more. In fact, these rare error coins can fetch anywhere from $30,000 to $46,000, that's right, a single penny that you might find in a jar of loose change could be worth tens of thousands of dollars if it has the right error or is in exceptional condition. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know what hidden treasures you might come across when you take the time to inspect your coins carefully. Before we finish up, we want to hear from you. Have you ever found a rare coin like the 1944 Lincoln penny? Or maybe you've come across another penny with an error? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your discoveries and coin collecting adventures. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found this content helpful and exciting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Keep an eye out for those pennies, because with a little bit of luck and a keen eye, you might just find a coin worth thousands. Until next time, happy hunting.